Welcome back to Celebrity Deathmatch. Tonight we're going to put aside the senseless violence for a moment to appreciate one of the finer things in life, poetry.
And there's no better way to appreciate that than to...
Where's the sound trip ever taken?
Hey guys, welcome back to another Jokey Pants Has Bad Taste. And you may be asking yourself, why are you not on screen with Paul? Aren't you guys going to be covering a movie? Well, this time I decided we're not covering a movie this episode. This episode is something I've been putting off doing a couple episodes like this. We'll see if I actually go through with both of them, or all three of them. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Who the hell knows?
Maybe a cartoon monkey's gonna beat you over the head with a monkey wrench, and you need to go to work tomorrow and just need to recover. But you need the W energy. That's what you need. The only way you're gonna get through. I don't remember what the nightmare juice is called, but if W's smart, they should try to get that and make it a fucking flavor. TM TM TM. You owe me for that one. Actually, no, you could have that one for free.
So yeah, go on over to W, show us some love, and let's get on with the movie. You know, we've been talking about a lot of really bad movies, things I grew up with. An episode we're going to be recording next time is, from this recording anyway, is a movie that I've never seen, and my God, it was not what I expected in the category of bad, and it had a lot of moments that made me just go, what? And I had to actually pause the movie to write in my notes my thoughts I was having. It was a time. You'll see it when it comes out. Once bitten. You'll see it when it comes out. So anyway, today's episode of Jokey Pants, we're going to be taking a look through some of my other parts of nostalgia. And the parts of nostalgia we're going to talk about today is actually Celebrity Deathmatch. Yeah, Celebrity Deathmatch. I know there's somebody out there who heard Celebrity Deathmatch and went, what? I remember. I bet you do remember. Celebrity Deathmatch, for those of you who don't know, maybe you're too young and you didn't get to watch it on TV when it aired, or you just had really strict parents, which, hey, I get it. My parents didn't let me watch everything. A lot of the things I'm talking about on this show that I watched, or in the case like this played, are just things that I did behind my parents' back because my mom and stepdad, you know what, that's a what an Oddcast thing. If you really want to know anything about me personally, go over and check out What an Oddcast, because I talk about a lot of things over there, because I'm with one of my lifelong best friends and a best friend who he really gets it out of me because he finds it disturbing, the things I say that are normal. But anyway, enough about my traumas. So Celebrity Deathmatch started in 1998, it went all the way to 2007. I honestly didn't know it lasted 10 years. I thought it was more like it went for a couple years and then it died off, but apparently not. It went for almost 10 years. God damn. But if you, how can I explain this? It's claymation, so if you watch Robot Chicken still, or if you know what Robot Chicken is, these guys came before Robot Chicken. This was like South Park made fun of celebrities on their show, and if you weren't being made fun of on South Park, you were likely, at this time in the early 2000s, you were likely on Celebrity Deathmatch. Yeah, you were fighting a different celebrity. They would make fun of all your tropes, if you had a drug problem, if you had a history of alcohol, if you had this, that, or whatever. Anything that was like Hollywood pop culture, like rumors or things about you, that would become the things you'd use as weapons. But of course, they'd go off the walls all the time. They had Beavis and Butthead on there and different shit like that, where it's just like, oh, these are pop icons. Throw them in there because it's claymation, so who gives a shit? You had, I think it might have been Steve-O and Chris Pontius versus Beavis and Butthead, to be honest. I think they might have just done Beavis and Butthead versus Jackass as like an MTV, our two big shows going head-to-head. Which makes sense, because yeah, this aired on MTV, the same place they gave you Jackass, and then later on would forget that it was music at all, and help sponsor other things. I'm not going to talk about some of the other things that have come out of the music channels. You're not music anymore, But at this time, this is when that change kind of started to happen. Yeah, so this is when MTV and VH1, this is when they started to get other inklings of shows that would become things. One of which, I'm working on an episode to cover over because there's just a lot and it's figuring out what I actually want to cover over with it. But I think I'm going to end up doing an episode about the Osbournes because that was an extremely influential show, as hard as it is for me to say that. Ozzy Osbourne influenced a lot of things. From music to TV, the man has made a lot of impacts, and not all of them were good. And that show, when I get to it, is an example of, not for the better, he had an impact on culture. Not for the better. But back to our game now. This one my dad got. Because, see, what's fun is when you have parents of divorce, right? My mom and stepdad had gotten me a PS2, and I was super happy with it. I was like, I wanted one so bad. I was so happy when I finally got my PlayStation 2, and I was like, hell yeah! Yeah! I got a PS2! Yeah, I'm cool now! I was so happy. My dad, my dad, he's also a bit of a gamer. He's not as much of a gamer as me. Don't ever let him fool you if he ever says, like, yeah, I game. Like, playing Splatterhouse and God of War every once in a blue moon, all right? You are a mild, very mild gamer, old man. Stay in your lane, old man. Stay in your lane. I love you, Dad. I just did a whole episode for you. You know I love you. But my dad also got a PS2, and there was a bunch of things he was playing, mainly, as I pointed out, God of War. He loved that. But regardless, he ended up getting this, and we played it. I was too young to have been playing it, but luckily for us, they tone it down. They honestly could have gone completely, like, M-rated, gone over the top with whatever they wanted to. It probably could have been an adults-only game with the kind of shit they could have gotten away with in a video game compared to what you can get away with on, international TV. Regardless, this fucking game. Oh, where do I even begin? Let's start where you'd always start.
What will happen when a self-mutilating shock rocker meets an annoying vegetable with a bad haircut? Find out tonight on Celebrity Deathmatch. Good evening, viewers, and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Johnny Gomez.
And I'm the Greek stallion known around the world as Nick Diamond. Everyone knows TV is good for your mind, and so are video games. And through the miracle of technology, we've mixed them together.
Oh, the anticipation. I'm practically drooling. Nick, it's a hell of a fight card we've got here tonight.
This piece of fucking dog shit. You know what? Actually, I take that back. I enjoy the aesthetic. I like that it's on, like, it's supposed to be like old school TV, and you're going into the TV's universe to play the game. That's kind of neat. They have custody of create a character, so you can mess with them however you want. There's some things you have to unlock, so you're gonna have to play and unlock stuff. That's not unnormal.
To beat the pee out of each other. Got me? Okay, fighters ready?
Oh, you're so cute when you're terrified.
I am gonna roll you like a carpet, ride you like a motorcycle, and flip you like a cheese omelet.
Let's get it on.
Be completely honest with you, it's probably going to be the only reason that when anyone played this game, if anything, the only thing that made anybody want to keep playing this fucking game, because it's not good. It's not good on every level of not being good. This is not a good fighting game. There's bad fighting games, there's good fighting games, and there's whatever the fuck kind of fighting game this fucking game is. You ever watch a review of an older game that you didn't get to play as a kid, and you see somebody talk about it, and they talk about just controls that don't make any fucking sense, or even if they make sense, they're so simplified that they are self-defeating in being so simple? Yeah, well, that's this fucking game. This fucking game. I'm gonna swear a lot, because this fucking game, to get gameplay footage for this episode took me forever, because I kept having to walk away with just how fucking bad it is. Like, I had to convince myself so many fucking times to make this episode, because to sit down and physically try to record this piece of fucking shit, I wanted to fucking gouge my goddamn eyes out and just shit all over my own PlayStation 2 because I couldn't take it. Here, and yes, I did play this on an actual PS2. I didn't just go to a website and do anything of that nature. No, everything you see whenever I review anything or I have gameplay footage that's PS2, literally being recorded off my PlayStation 2, because I still have one. It was gifted to me by Anthony. Anthony, thank you. I love you. You're my best friend. I appreciate you, and I love that you gave it to me, because it's given me the option to do this stuff and hate my life even more. So, the controls in this game are so oversimplified. Out of all the fucking buttons on a PS2 controller, let's take a look at all the fucking buttons on a PS2 controller, right? You got the bumpers, you've got triggers, right? And you've got all 4 directional pad, right? All 4 of those, yeah. And then you got 2 analog sticks. Oh boy, there's more buttons to work with. And then you have all 4, your triangle, square, circle, and X. Man, there should give you a lot of combos, right? There should be a lot you can do. Is imagining what somebody said in the room making this fucking game, because they didn't use any of the buttons, in fact. You might as well just cut your fucking controller in half, because you're only going to use half the fucking controls on your controller. It might as well have been like a Nintendo 64 game, because it uses barely any fucking input at all. This does not feel like a PS2. Like this, it doesn't use anything. You have like 3 attacks, if you're lucky. If you can figure out how to do some of the, like, there's supposed to be extra special attack things you can do where like hitting a certain combo does a certain move. If anyone out there has figured out how to do something like that, let me know, because there's really 2 buttons that really attack anything, a grapple button and moving around. And that is really fucking it. Out of all the buttons we just talked about, you really only need about 3 buttons and you could do everything in this fucking game. How do you make a fighting game and you add absolutely no fucking variety in how your character attacks? Especially in this fucking game, where there's so much shit you could pull out of your fucking ass for any of the celebrities. You got Ron Jeremy, who's a porn star. They make his finishing move. Let me show you his finishing move. It is the dumbest fucking shit.
It's got the look of death. Johnny, those are the biggest balls I've ever seen.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner.
Yes! I rule!
And so another fighter bites the dust. Let's take a moment to think about what just happened, shall we? Okay.
Coming up next, more ridiculously graphic clay-animated violence.
Look at that. That is the dumbest piece of fucking dog shit I've ever fucking seen. What the fuck is... Disco balls? Oh, because he's got big balls. He's a porn star. How is that his finisher? Of anything you could have made his finisher, you could have had her literally split her in half with the giant banana he hits her with at some point, and that would have been like, oh, haha, funny, big dick because he's a porn star, split her in half, that's a saying, haha, I'm better at writing these than you, and I don't even do this for a living! But anyway, so that's basically how all of the fights work. There's even Carrot Top, who has a finisher where he pulls out your ribcage and plays it like a xylophone, which I've seen people talk about before. It doesn't make any fucking sense for Carrot Top. There's a million other fucking things you could do for Carrot Top that are like a pun and play on props work. That's not one of... That one's kind of fucking lazy and dumb. Like, really? He just rips the ribcage out? Fucking Ron Jeremy has disco balls that drop down. I think there's fucking Tommy Lee which Tommy Lee's probably one of the worst characters in this fucking game. You could really just drink from your alcohol. You can drink your liquor, or you can maybe get a hit or two in. And then he also has like a drumming attack thing that I tried to use that can be helpful and work. But for the most part, he's fucking absolutely goddamn worthless. Like, honestly, actually, you know what? I take that back. Every fucking character in this game is worthless because this game is a giant piece of fucking shit. So you may be asking yourself, Jokey, why the fuck did you spend money on this? Well, fun fact, I bought this years ago. And for years ago, if you watch What an Oddcast or have ever caught our podcast at any point, you know that I was in a pretty serious relationship a couple of years ago. And that is when I bought this, right? Is when I had kids, right? I was being a stepdad. I had kids running around. So, like, I didn't even get to really play it because there's kids around all the time. So I didn't even have time to actually do anything with it. But my plan originally was to do this. And now that I've finally had the time and I've gotten around to doing it, and I've been sitting on this footage for like a month or two, and I've just debated, do I even want to talk about it? And now that I have talked about it, I gotta say, yeah, no, this game is an ultimate piece of shit. Because even its campaign mode, its story mode, whatever the fuck you want to go with, it's just a giant, like, what would be like a wrestling match roster of like this person versus this person. Here's the thing. You can either play them or you just auto skip it and it tells you who won. And I don't understand the point because it's not like a bracket system where then people are going, it just kind of does whatever. It's really bad, guys. It's really bad. So if you see this lying around and you have a PS2 and like me, you have a nostalgia for you grew up in this time and you're like, oh man, I never had that game. I want to get it. Don't. Just don't. Save your money. It was like $12 when I bought it, $8, something like it was cheap. It's cheap because it's really fucking bad. Yeah, the shitty part is like I cover this one now. I have two other games to talk about that I've had recorded and I haven't. And I'll just tell you what they are now, because God only knows if anyone could end up watching this piece of shit fucking episode. I'll talk shit about myself. I don't care. Like, comment, subscribe. I don't care. Anyway, I got the Jackass game that I gave up. So my original plan for that one, much like this one, was like, I'll play it start to finish. We'll see how far I get, and we'll record as I go. And this one, I realized there's not really a start and a finish. There's just, this is what this game is. It's fucking horrible. This is a novelty thing. I own it. I just did an episode on it. I'll never fucking touch this game again unless I do something recording with the guys in the future, which I might, just to torture them with this horrendous piece of shit. But the Jackass game, I want to love it, guys. I'll be honest. I'm struggling to make that episode because I want to love it. I love Jackass. I've been a fan of Jackass since I was way too young to be watching it, much like I say with everything. You see a theme here, right? Seeing a theme, like bad parents growing up that didn't give a shit, didn't pay attention. Yeah, that was me. Like, I was the bad kid because Anyway, I've been a huge fan of Jackass forever. Like, Steve-O, hands down, is in my list of people that, like, inspired me to, like, I want to do something more than just the everyday. Like, Steve-O was one of those people that, for whatever reason, I really enjoyed him, and he inspired me to do more of like what I'm doing now. Get into comedy, do shit, and push myself out there. He was a big inspiration early on. So, I want to love the Jackass game, but the Jackass game suffers from so much more than what this game does that making that episode is taking me longer to really try to figure out what I want to nitpick out of it, what I want to use, so on and so forth. We did a whole Jackass month. Anyway, so Celebrity Deathmatch, is it good? Hell no. This game deserves to burn in the deepest pit of hell from nostalgia, and I never want to fucking see it again. Get it out of my fucking face!